Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing another Beast Wars review, and that will be of Waspinator. Take a look at this bad bee right here. Now, oh Waspinator, how I love thee. How I think everyone loves thee. A little information about Waspinator. Waspinator was one of the original Predacons on the dark side. I believe he was actually one of the pilots. Either him or Pterosaur was the pilot, and the other one was probably the navigator, but he had a position similar to that. And upon reaching Earth, he scans a bee, becomes the Waspinator that we all know and loves, and takes up the position for the most part as one of the flyers. Now, when you use the term flyers in Beast Wars, it's a transformer that can fly in both beast mode and in robot mode, although Prime is called a flyer and he can fly in robot mode. And flyers tend to have a distinct advantage in general missions to other transformers because they can fly to places faster, they can get there faster, they have a lot more movability. You know, as incompetent as Pterosaur and Waspinator can be, they gave the Predacons a huge advantage in the early going because they could get to places first and they could, you know, just outrace the Maximals. Come Season 2, with the Transmetal upgrades, Waspinator is kind of set to the position of henchman. He's not really that important when it comes down to any tactical design. Most people can fly at this point. Most, not all. And he really is outgunned and outmatched in every way possible. Nothing against Waspinator, but he really doesn't have much going for him when it comes down to combat. Interestingly enough, in Season 2, Waspinator is one of the only few people that know that they're actually on prehistoric Earth. Dinobot knows, Megatron for an extent knows, and then Waspinator knows. Because, you know, Dinobot's choking Waspinator, and Waspinator says there's one moon, you know, we're on Earth. But maybe he's not as stupid as everyone thinks. Actually, no, he is as stupid as everyone thinks. He's Waspinator. But again, Waspinator kind of stays in that role through the rest of the series. That's not to say he doesn't get exposure. He just kind of falls to the role of a foot soldier. Nothing more, nothing less. At the end of the series, when Megatron is taken back to Cybertron, Waspinator stays on Earth, and he's actually the king of the proto-humans. However, in Beast Machines, we find out that the proto-humans get bored of him, and he is somehow launched back to Cybertron. One can only think that there was some kind of portal or temporal vortex or something. He got back to Cybertron, and upon going to Cybertron, he was turned into the Viacon General Thrust, which was the bike. Now, funny thing is, on Beast Machines, Black Arachnia thought Silverbolt was Thrust, but it was actually Waspinator, and Waspinator allowed the Thrust personality to override his normal personality. And when she found out it was actually Waspinator, she was disgusted. And one of the funniest things that's ever come out of Waspinator's mouth, and Waspinator is ridiculously funny, is, and I can't do the Waspinator voice, he says something to the effect of, "So does this mean that Spiderbot won't go steady with Bikerbot?" It's just hilarious. Waspinator has some of the best comedic moments. Other than what I've stated, the only really other highlight that Waspinator has is two things. One is he's possessed by Starscream, which is awesome. Second is, out of all the Predacons, he's the only one left at the end of both series. Megatron's reformatted, and before Beast Machines, everyone else is killed off or, you know, converts or goes to the Maximal side. So, yeah, Waspinator has that distinction of being the last survivor of the original Predacon team, or the Predacon team in general from Beast Wars. So, that is Waspinator. Personality-wise, Waspinator is... he acts like an idiot. I think he's smarter than he actually is, but he is kind of an idiot. Very simple-minded. You know, he has allegiance, but he only has allegiance to Megatron because he's scared of Megatron. I think, like most of the Predacons, he'd backstab Megatron if he had a chance. But, you know, he's put in his place, and very rarely does he show any treachery. He is ambitious, but again, he's kind of scared, so he doesn't really capitalize off that ambition. Powers and abilities, well, Waspinator can fly. That's one advantage that he has. He also has his gun, which has multiple different armament that can come out of it, multiple different rounds or ammunition, but he sticks with his explosive bee stinger thingamajiggy. He can also shoot eye lasers, but we only see that maybe once or twice. I think the first episode, and that's it. Besides that, Waspinator really doesn't have much more going for him. He never goes transmetal, and unless you count him when he was thrust as a Viacon general, and then he had, he was fast. He could do a shitload of stuff. But as Waspinator himself, he's just there. Probably one of the weakest of the Transformers in the Beast Wars. That only really had one thing good going for him, which is he could fly, and even that kind of fell apart during the second season. On a whole, I love Waspinator. He is the funniest character in all of Beast Wars, and he just lightens up everyone's day. He gets blown up more times than, I don't know, firecrackers do. He is destroyed so much. I guess you could say that as a power and ability. The fact that he can be so resilient and durable. He gets everything blown up all the time, and he just keeps on coming back. And Waspman is just hilarious. It's an absolutely funny character that really sets a good tone for a very kind of mature and dark series. So yes, that is Waspman as a character. You gotta love him. So on to the figure itself. Waspinator is obviously a bee or a hornet. An interestingly colored one with green, but for the most part, the beast mode looks good. It's kind of a big bee, but it looks good. There's a little robot kibble underneath. You can see the hands right there, and how the legs connect. But for the most part, looking from the side or looking from the top, he looks good. This is the 15th or 10th anniversary edition. I keep on losing my mind on which anniversary it was. It was 10th. 10th anniversary edition of Waspinator, and it looks good. They you'll see later in the robot head that they touched up a lot. Really got a good makeover like the rest of the 10th anniversary figures. I really don't have to stop my video for transformation because, well, Waspinator has probably one of the simplest transformations outside of the quick changers. It's just going to take me a second to adjust everything. And, you gotta love Waspinator. He's just a freaking badass. Hilarious. Funny thing is, the individual that does the voice of Waspinator, I believe his name is Scott McDaniel. I could be wrong. If I am, please correct me. But he also did the voice of Rat Trap and of Dinobot. An interesting bunch there, which makes you think when he's doing the voice of Rat Trap and Dinobot interacting with each other, which was a lot, it must have just been him having a conversation with himself. Let's get this down here. Just one more thing. There we go. And ba-boom. Waspinator fully transformed in his robot mode. His stinger becomes his gun, which is right here. I'll show that a bit more in a minute. But he's pretty much show accurate. He looks good. The transformation is pretty simple, but it's not too simple that it's a stupidity. Good articulation. The legs don't get too much in the way, but it can be annoying sometimes. And you can put him in some pretty good poses. The big difference between this and the original figure is that the head is better painted. And the interesting thing about Waspinator is he's one of the few Beast War characters, there are a few like Tarantulas and such, that actually use the mutant head rather than the robot head, which the robot head is down in there. I don't feel like pulling it out. But yes, that is Waspinator in his robot mode. I'll show you the gun in 2 seconds. Good looking figure, really good looking figure. It is just a testament to how the Beast War figures had simplicity to them, but at the same time had depth to them also, which is an interesting combination. Here is the gun. I'm holding it by his handle. Again, it's a stinger, and it's just you can take the missiles out of his wing, which are located right here, and you can just stick those bad boys in the stinger. And from what I remember, it can fire pretty far, which is exactly what I was going to say. And it just goes in there like that. You can promptly put the gun in his hand, and it fits snug and nicely. So let's take another look at Waspinator. Overall, great character, and the figure itself is nice. There's very few complaints I have with the Beast War figures. There's very few figures I don't like. I think the only one that I have complaints about, and I have to think about it for a second, was the Rhinox figure, the Transmetal 2 Cheetor, and how Black Arachnia doesn't look feminine in her original mode. But, I mean, what can you get with a repaint? But on a whole, Waspinator, great figure, great character, and really one of the enjoyable points of Beast Wars. So with that said, I'm going to end this review here. This is Andrew saying peace out for now.